Hello folks, welcome back to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. So again today we are continuing with the standards on auditing, and the specific standard under consideration for today's lecture would be SA 560, subsequent events. So when you talk about the subsequent event, there's one thing that should hit your mind if you have been through your accountings already, if you have completed your financial reporting subject, right? There's one thing that would definitely hit your mind when you talk about subsequent event. Yes, that is accounting standard 4, which is the contingencies and events occurring after the balance sheet date. So when you talk about events occurring after the balance sheet date, it is a subsequent event. Right? So we have an accounting standard for the subsequent event and also a standards on auditing for the subsequent event. So do both the standards deal with the same concept of subsequent event? No. The subsequent event as per accounting standard 4 covers a narrower range, a narrower time period as compared to the subsequent event covered by the standards on auditing 560. Now what do you basically consider? What will you follow? Is one question. Okay, because the subsequent event concept as per both the standards are different. So if there is a contradictory event arising, what do we do? So basically try and understand that your accounting standard is the requirement of law, and even the Companies Act 2013 makes it compulsory for you to follow the accounting standards, right? But when you come to the standards on auditing, that is just a pronouncement that has been given by the institute. And you, being a chartered accountant, have to apply the standards of auditing when you are performing the attested servicing, the service of attesting, right? And if you do not do it, that would result into professional misconduct and you will be penalized for that. But this is not a requirement of law. So understand, when you are preparing financial statement, right, you will prepare it as per the accounting standards. But when you are doing your audit work, you will follow the standards on auditing, that is subsequent event 560, right? So with the help of a diagram, with the help of a timeline diagram, right, I'd make an effort to make you understand the difference between accounting standard 4 and the standards on auditing 560, right? So let us look at this summary. So this is the timeline for the entire period, a period of 18 months for example, which starts from the beginning of the financial year, that is 1st April of any year. So for our hypothetical example, we will be considering it to be 1st April 2015, right? And that financial year comes to an end on 31st March 2016. So 12-month period, the entire financial year, that is the financial year for which we are preparing the financial statements. And those financial statements will be audited. So when you're preparing the financial statement, please follow accounting standard 4. And when you're auditing it, you will follow the standards on auditing 560. Then after your balance sheet is prepared, right, the management performs additional procedures on it to rectify it if there was any error. They review it, the auditors, they review the financial statement, they perform their procedures on it, and finally after a time period of 2 to 3 months, it gets approved in the board meeting, right? The time period would always depend upon the size of the company. So this is a hypothetical example that we are taking. So let us consider that after 3 months the financial statement got approved into the board meeting, right? Then the auditor continued with its finding, with its conclusions, drawing its report, and once the report was prepared, they issued the report to the board, and the date of audit report was 15th August 2016. And then on 30th September 2016, that is the date when the financial statement and the auditor's report were issued. So they are issued to the various regulatory authorities, to the public, to the stock exchange, everywhere, right? So this is the time span. So for first 12 months you prepare the financial statement, next few months the financial statement gets approved in the board, then the audit report is given to the management, and then the management finally issues the financial statement and the auditor's report, right? So when we are considering, this is the timeline. So from here, right, after your financial year comes to an end, that is on 30th March 2016, up to the date on which the financial statement got approved in the board meeting, this is one period under consideration. right? And this is actually the period that is covered under subsequent event as per accounting standard 4, right? So accounting standard 4 only deals with that period after the end of financial statement, after the end of the financial year, up to which the financial statement is approved by the board, right? Only that small span of time is covered under the concept of subsequent event as per accounting standard 4, right? Now when you consider the situation for standards on auditing 560, then it covers the entire rest of the period. That is, it covers the date of balance sheet getting approved, it covers the date of issue of auditor's report, and also covers the date of issue of the financial statement and auditor's report to the other authorities, right? That is the subsequent event as per SA 560. Now this period, right, the conditions or the transactions that you come to know about, right, that transaction or that condition or that event has also been divided into two parts. One is from the date of end of the financial year to the date of issue of auditor's report, and that is known as the events occurring after the balance sheet date, right? And when we talk about the events occurring after balance sheet date, we are actually talking about the happening of a transaction, the occurrence of a transaction, that the transaction is taking place, right? And the other, that is after the date of auditor's report, there we talk about the facts that are known to the auditor. So we are not concerned with the transactions that are taking place after the date of auditor's report. No. But if there are some transactions that had taken place before the date of auditor's report, but the auditor comes to know about it after the date of auditor's report, then those are the facts known to auditors after the date of auditor's report. And so we consider them to be facts and not events. Events are the happening, the occurrence of the transaction, and we come to know about it, that is the event, right? But when the transaction has already been occurred and we become aware about that transaction later on, then that is considered to be a fact. You know, okay, something had happened and we come to know, oh, that is a fact that was present in the company, and we are now enlightened, we now know about that fact. An event is the continuous occurrence, that is the present, and fact is the past, right? So now in this standard we'll have to understand what is the responsibility of the auditor with reference to the events and also with reference to the facts, right? Now when we talk about the subsequent event as per AS4, then these subsequent events are actually divided into two categories. One would be considered to be the adjusting event, and the other would be considered to be the non-adjusting event, for which only the disclosure would be required, right? So let us get into an understanding of what are the types of events as per accounting standard 4, right? So your accounting standard 4 is the contingencies and events occurring after the balance sheet date. Clear with that? Now what is the subsequent event as per that? We have already seen, that is after the date of the year end of the financial statement, the financial year ending, up to the date when the financial statement are approved by the board, right? Now between those periods, like for in our example it is a period of 3 months, 31st March to 30th June. Within those periods there will be certain transactions taking place, certain events occurring, right? For example, if I take an example, then you had machinery, right? You are a manufacturing client, you had a lot of machinery, and then you basically thought of selling away a major part of your machinery. That is somewhere around, there are two big machineries, right? And you sell one of them that constituted to be 40% of your entire manufacturing unit. You sold that machinery, that was big machinery. So that would be considered to be an event. And if you are purchasing the third machinery, even that will be considered to be an event. Two transactions taking place, so two events occurring after the balance sheet date if they occur, right? Now how do you deal with these two situations separately? So basically the types of event that the accounting standard 4 talks about, we have bifurcated the event into two different types. So one would be those which provide further evidence of the condition that existed on the balance sheet date, like for an example in which we talk about selling away the machinery. So the machinery existed on the balance sheet date, they appeared in the books of accounts, right? In the balance sheet, asset side, fixed assets, you have machinery, two machineries worth rupees 50 lakhs each. So one machinery has already been recorded worth rupees 50 lakh in the financial statement on the asset side, but 1 month hence you sold away that asset, and by that time your financial statement is not approved by the board. That means your financial statement is undergoing changes. You are still under the process of updating your financial statement. Even the manager is doing it and the auditor is doing it, right? So now, do you think it is reasonable for you, or it is justifiable for you, to show that machinery in the asset side and then send away the financial statement and report to the users? Like, there is some user who is waiting for your financial statement and your auditor's report, right, which you issue to them at the end of September. 30th September is the date as per our example. So that day, when they see the financial statement, they again assume, okay, the company still has 2 machinery, the production is going on very well, it's good. Don't you think that's a wrong information being conveyed? Because 5 months before September, in the month of April, you have already sold that machinery. That is a false statement that you are giving to the users of the financial statement. So the accounting standard 4 says that if there are certain events that existed on the balance sheet date, that means you have taken up a recording of that event. If there was a transaction, or if there was an asset or a liability or expense or income that existed on the balance sheet date, and you have recorded them in your financial statement, but that recording needs an updation because of your action after the balance sheet date, then please update it. You have to give a fair statement of the current position of the company. So if that machinery is sold, you will not show that machinery in your asset side, in the fixed asset. What will you do basically is, you will show the transaction of sale. You will reduce the machinery account by 50 lakhs, right? And you will again show if there is a profit on sale of machinery, then that will be added in your profit and loss account. So the entire transaction, you will make all the adjustments relating to that transaction, right? That is the meaning of the statement, that you identify 2 types of event. One is those which provide further evidence of the condition that existed on the balance sheet date. So your machinery existed on the balance sheet date. Further evidence that you obtained for the machinery is that the machinery is sold. So that is one event, and you need to adjust such events. The other events are those which are indicative of the condition that arose subsequent to the balance sheet date. Now, your balance sheet date, on the balance sheet date, you have your P&L account, you have your balance sheet prepared, right? Now what happened is, as per our example that we had taken, now the company buys the 3rd machine, again spends rupees 50 lakh for that. So what happens? Again we think, okay, this should be included in the financial statement, right? Because the user of the financial statement should be aware of the fact that, okay, now they have 3 machineries. No, you will not do that, because that is not prudence. If you talk about the prudence, right, what we saw in prudence in accounting standard 1 is that the profits that you're making, right, if you have a contingent asset coming up, if you have profits foreseeable, if you have accrued profit or accrued income, you generally do not record it. But if it is an accrued liability or an accrued expense, you record it. Income and the assets or the profits are recorded on the actual basis. So this profit or this machinery that you are gaining, that would be recorded. This is not exactly that event, but I'm trying to link it, right? So this should be an event for the next financial year, that is 2016-17, because when you prepare the balance sheet, you will show that, yeah, this is the opening machinery, this is the machinery purchased during the year, and this is the closing machinery. Because if you don't do that, then you will not have any transaction for the first few months before your balance sheet is approved. So actually your financial statement will always show a position from 30th June to next 30th June. Understanding the point? But your balance sheet, that should show a condition from 1st April to 31st March. Right? So these kinds of transactions will be recorded in the subsequent year financial statement. Conservatism is the word. Right? You actually follow the conservative approach. So according to that, if there is something which is going downside, that means the machinery is sold off, your assets have decreased, right? There is a problem now. The liability position has increased, the asset position has decreased. There is a problem. So as per the conservative approach, conservatism, you make that adjustment, right? You disclose it. The other facts of machinery, I'm not telling you that you will not include it anywhere. No, you will not make an adjustment in the financial statement for the new machinery taken over. But in the board's report, you will say that okay, we have also taken this new machinery. Or in your auditor's report also, if you think that no, this is a very material event that has taken place, then you may give an emphasis on matter paragraph. That okay, these are certain facts I want you people to know, is that for the past 5 years the company has been operating with just 2 machineries, but this year they have a plan of expansion, and accordingly they have purchased a new machinery on so and so date, and that machinery worth rupees 50 lakhs. So that is the kind of disclosure you can give in your emphasis on matter paragraph for the users of the report to know. So they will know when they read the report, they'll know okay, they have a machinery. So your problem of giving them a fair view is again cleared. You have given them a disclosure. But that would not impact your financial statement, that would not impact your profit, that would not impact your condition on 31st March. So it is a non-adjusting event. So do you get the point? Do you get the difference between what is an adjusting event and what is a non-adjusting event? The only thing you need to remember for the differentiation between the two, the thin line gap between the two, is that you only disclose the events, you only adjust the events that occurred or that existed at the balance sheet date, right? So that was as per your accounting standard 4. So if we talk about the requirement of this standard, then we say that the auditor should perform certain procedures which are designed to obtain the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence for the events up to the date of auditor's report, and basically the events that may require adjustment or disclosure in the financial statement, and to see that they are all identified. So it is the procedure that the auditor would perform, right, to obtain the sufficient appropriate audit evidence to ensure that events which require adjustment or disclosure on the financial statement have been identified. That is all. He wants to identify all the events that would require the adjustment, that would require the disclosure. For when we talk about adjustment, we are talking about the number 1 category of investment, right, whereby the event, the condition existed on the balance sheet date. And we're talking about disclosures, we are talking about the second type of event that occurred after the finalization of the balance sheet, sorry, after the end of the financial year, before the finalization or approval of the balance sheet, right? So that is basically the requirement of this standard, to perform such procedures to ensure that they are identified. Now I hope you are clear with the distinction between accounting standard 4 and the standards on auditing 560. If yes, then you also know what are the kinds of events that we're talking about in accounting standard 4. I guess you understand that, and so you are able to differentiate as to which events should be recorded in the balance sheet, in the financial statement, and which category of event should only be reported in the report, in the director's report or in the emphasis on matter paragraph, right? So we have also seen the requirement of the standard. The procedural part will be covered up in the next lecture. So until then, this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you. Bye bye.